Hey, take a bite. All right. Finish your No, don't let me interrupt you, man. Don't let me interrupt. Oh boy. Now my dog is coming. Literally, you've called my dog from the far side of the house. Hey everybody, welcome to Copi Cafe, episode 54. This is Rob Gregg. I'm Josh Jones, and we're just here to share a little bit of what's going on inside Cornucopias, our MMO AAA quality open world game that we are building that has a variety of different lands and theme zones that you could do all sorts of things in. The first of which being our metaverse kind of play where you can run around, talk to friends, and hang out outside Toledo Valley, coupled with the racing game that we will be launching. And that is coming soon. So please stay tuned, watch, stay up to date because we have something amazing that we're launching and it's coming really soon. Before I go any further, Rob, what are you drinking today?
So today, it's quite late.
What's coupled and paired with that fake burger that you're eating?
Well, I have just set my dog off as well.
Oh, Corona. Corona Extra. All right, cheers. I'm drinking a Spindthrift, grapefruit flavored. You know me, super exciting.
What I like about this is nice technology.
Yeah.
My dog is literally sat on my lap now with that squeak.
I mean, the way things are going with AI and machine learning, you might at some point be able to just hold up your drink and a robot comes over and says, "Got that for you." Just keep going. Never know. That might be like 5 years away, 3 years away.
Yeah.
Who
I'll still
knows?
drink it though.
All right, so coming up on this episode, we are going to talk about what's going on, the player account, desktop launcher update, the daily corn and how you can go and grab those points, what that's for, what it's all about. We're going to talk to Geoff and Zach. We're going to have them on the show for a little interview time. That'll be fun. We haven't had either of them on the show before, so excited about that. And then, of course, we've always got questions from you guys, our community. So we'll be going into that very soon. First up, we have successfully, and I feel very successfully, launched our player account, which a lot of people might take that for granted. They think it's a small thing, whatever. There's a huge foundation that we've laid in a custom website code setup that allows for us to add on the player account credentials to manage things with a back end, but also to connect the desktop launcher to have the Cornucopias Academy eventually, which is our courses, which is going to help everybody to get trained up on everything going on in Cornucopias. You can earn badges and things like that. This foundation is really important, and also the account setup, login, security, all of that goes on top of that so that you can play the game and so that we know who you are. We can give you different access based upon roles and all sorts of things like that. I think our team did a remarkable job. The comments on the player account setup, we've had over 900 of you set up already just since yesterday. So a good turnout. We need to get a lot more. So if you're listening now and you haven't set it up, just go to cornucopias.io/register. And it's really simple. I mean, it just walks you through it. It's incredibly simple. You set up your Web3 wallet if you want to, or you can skip that. You could set up double authentication if you want to, or you could skip that. You're going to select your username, and you can also upload a profile image or a JPEG or whatever it may be. So I think it's phenomenal, and it's just a start towards next week when next week or the week after, somewhere around there, we're going to launch the desktop launcher, the Metaverse launcher. We're still landing on a name for that, but that's basically where we're going to launch the game. And then shortly after that, we're going to launch the game. So this is just one step towards a really cool release of our game that's coming soon. Rob, anything from you on this topic?
Yep. I'm just thinking to myself. I think what we do well, what the team does well is UI UX. So user interface, user experience, and I think that really comes through with everything that we do, especially the website, and also what we do well, I think, is our testing procedures. When we do our NFTs, we have like the testament. and this testing went to the OGs first, and I think they turned up and they did a really good job. And if those OGs look at the system a few days later from the beginning, they caught so many bugs or issues that it's really helped. So, for example, if you have a wallet that's has lots of NFTs in, to begin with, it was quite slow scrolling down, and they've got videos in there. So because of the OG testing, now that experience has been really slicked up. We've got double lots of lazy loading in there and the ability to turn the video previews off. And that comes out of community testing. We didn't think of that ourselves. So I
Yeah,
think,
we wanted to
yeah, we do all
default to
those things
show.
really well.
We do. I completely agree. And in our team's credit, so we did internal testing first, and there was really not a lot of issues. Then we go to the OGs, and there's a decent amount of little issues. There wasn't anything
Yeah.
major.
Yeah, only
It
major
was
ones.
all pretty
Right.
small, but significant, not insignificant. And
Yeah.
so if the videos are taking a while to load, for example, you have a toggle switch now where you can turn that off, and it's just going to show the
Yep.
images as opposed to loading up the GIFs. But we wanted to default to show the videos because it's really cool. But for those of you that may or may not have if it's slow for you, just turn that off, and it just makes the experience
Yeah.
a little bit better. But
And
yeah,
it was
you're right. The testing process helped that particular feature significantly, among a few others. I think we're still
yeah.
struggling with the profanity filter a little bit.
Well,
It's like
only in,
to the
yeah,
max or something, and it's pulling out
it's really weird.
some ridiculously not
Yeah.
very, like, in my mind, not a bad curse word at all, and different languages too. So it's yeah,
Yeah.
that might be a challenging road just to get that
It is
list
strange
narrowed
because
down.
you have words in one language that is just a normal word, and in another language it kind of, I don't know, it might mean something bad. So that's where they come in. For example, I mean, I don't we might have to cut this bit out. I don't think it's too edgy. In Germany, there's a really well-known battery provider, VARTA, which is Varta. So in the UK, when you see it, you see it as Varta battery. So I mean, that's not, that's just funny, but that's an example of how
But it
when it's
edited that
translated
out.
over.
Did Was that something that happened and it edited that out, or it didn't let somebody create their account, or what?
No, I just threw that one in because I thought it was funny.
Okay, so it wasn't a relevant.
I,
Well, it's a
I know I
semi-relevant
know the word
example.
steak actually came up
Yes,
in the
steak
checker.
is a relevant example, and that
Yeah.
was it prevented somebody from, and it was a Swedish word that we talked to one of our devs,
Yanni.
Yane,
Yeah.
and asked him what that meant, and it's balls. So,
Ah,
not
okay.
really, that's a good example of that's not really
Meatballs.
to the level of we need to edit those out. Anyway, be patient with us on that. That's going to take, I mean, there's a lot of languages and there's a good amount of words that we have to look at and just kind of reduce that list down to allow more freedom.
Yep.
But obviously, what we're trying to do here with that is we don't want a game where, a 13-year-old could come in and play and your child, you don't feel safe for your child to come in and play Cornucopias because they're going to learn all sorts of new and words that your parents don't want you using, kind of thing. And so we're trying to keep this safe as a
Yep.
family game, and that's the goal. So some of you that may have not been able to select your username, be patient with us. We'll get there. Promise. We'll work it out.
Yeah,
Um,
that word does make me wonder. When you stake to a stake pool. I don't know. Am I triggering Sweden now?
you might be. Who knows? You probably are. Um, Next up, so great job to the team on that, and we'll hear more from Geoff and Zach later in the interview. But the desktop launcher. So a quick update on that is that it looks like the end of this week we're going to go to internal testing with the team.
Nice.
So the challenge with that has been the login credentials from the player account. They also need to work on the launcher, and so That is the final element. It's mostly been developed where you can submit bugs, you can look at the new updates to the game, you can launch the game securely. It's got a checksum process to make sure nothing's been tampered with. All of these things that are very important for actually launching the game. And so I'm excited that that's our next step, and hopefully internal testing with the team goes incredibly well, because shortly after that we'll be launching that to the OGs and then to larger sampling of you guys out there to fully test there. So yeah, exciting stuff in that regard. And you actually designed a lot of the tickets on that, or the requests and features, user stories that you wanted involved, and we've actually, I think we've gotten about maybe 1/32 of those in, somewhere around there, one out of 50, something like that. Just
For the
kidding.
launcher.
No, there was a
No?
lot. There was a lot of planning that went into place, and then we have to look at that and go, okay, this is what's reasonable for us to have, and then we have a vision for growing it over time and adding it according to feedback from you guys as well. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm really excited to see that. Anything else from you on that, Rob?
No, I think you're right. I mean, we demoed like the very early prototype back at Consensus in 2022. Yeah. So
Yep.
these things take time. Over a year later, we can actually, it's been rewritten and it's about to actually launch, which is, yeah, really cool.
Yeah, totally agree.
And I don't have to maintain it, which is good.
Yes. There's no way we could. Speaking of launching, and this is I'm pulling an audible here and adding a topic. The Apple release of their VR headwear glasses, I forget the name of it. That happened this week. And obviously that's pretty huge for the metaverse, for virtual reality. There's a lot involved in that. It's very exciting. It's also very expensive.
Yep.
But I don't think they're going to have a problem getting enough early users and adopters, even at that price point. And I imagine they're going to try to get it down. But, if you had to speculate, what does this mean for the space? And how might this impact Cornucopias in a year or 2 years or whenever?
Yeah. The VR Pro, I mean, it is quite funny. It is, it starts at $3,500. But I think what they've done is they have massively raised the bar. It comes with so many different cameras. It's higher than 4K in each eye. So, I mean, that's nothing like, miles ahead of what we've seen from Meta and Samsung so far. The eye tracking apparently is absolutely amazing. So it's like having maybe 2 or 3 different secure, huge 100-meter screens in front of you. Sorry, my dog's going mental.
Is he whining in the background? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, can you hear him? I threw my burger at him. I was going crazy. Yeah, they were clever in the fact that they made it heavier because it's really well made. It's not plastic. But then they reduced some of that weight by removing the battery and having that separate. It comes with obviously this new VR operating system. I can't remember what they called it, Vision OS or something like that. But yeah, I think the reason it's so expensive is because they only really want it in the hands of developers at the moment, and they want a limited edition, and they also want to create demand for it. It's not out till next year, but that gives developers a good 6 months to actually come out and write some applications for it. I think it's going to ignite the space. I think it's going to make the competition in VR go back to the drawing board, come out with something better. I think for VR apps, it's going to be incredible. However, I still think VR is such a tiny, tiny niche that I don't think it will go mainstream into games for another 4 or 5 years, even though Apple have reignited it.
It's tough to
But
say on that side the pace, but you're definitely right. It's
yeah,
small, it's tiny right now.
yeah,
However, when someone like Apple releases a
yeah.
product with their,
The world wakes up.
the values and what goes behind what they typically bring to the table, it's going to be a solid experience.
Yeah,
And I think that it will definitely ignite a lot of development in the space, and that could be accelerated, it could speed up. How it's relevant for us is, and the beauty of our domes approach or our bubbles approach is that we can still build the game as we are planning, but what we can do is when the time is right for us to start testing, and when we could get a testing team and a research team to work on dev in a curated Cornucopias VR dome, that's
hmm,
something that we can pursue.
yep,
So, and there are capabilities within Unreal Engine 5. So, when the time is right, when the core game loom is in place, and this is something I'll just re-emphasize, guys, we can't go any faster right now. We have a small team that is incredibly nimble, and the pace of our development is it's incredibly fast. And
yep.
we literally cannot just go, oh, let's bring on 50 devs and make everything go faster. It's not possible. It doesn't work like that. So what we're doing is we're preparing to add on a larger team, and once we have the core game loop in place, then we can build out teams for custom domes, for example, or teams for assets within the marketplace, or teams for mobile, or whatever it may, VR. So that's the plan. We're headed in that direction. When the core game loop's in place, we have the funding. We're going to bring on the teams and the infrastructure that we've been building to scale. We'll be prepared to handle that on a human resources side. We'll be prepared to handle that with lead developers that can train the new people and bring them on board appropriately. All of the things that are necessary there. So I did want to
Yep.
add that element, but yeah, good
No,
comments
yeah,
on
yeah.
Apple. And I
I'm,
think we do
I'm
need to
looking.
move on to the next topic right now, unless you have
Oh,
something
it's a shame because
incredibly.
I've got so much to talk about that device, but we can save it for another time.
Yeah, yeah, we could save it for another episode. So we've got a lot to cover still. Copi Cafe future schedule. So you recommended. You want to tell us a little bit about your recommendation with splitting that off, and we'll just let everybody know what we're going to do
Well,
in the
the
future.
the Copi Cafe kind of, it's more of a talking format. We're talking about the dev updates of the game. We have a couple of small leaks, but when we introduce gameplay in episode 50, then 51, 52, 53, the episodes start getting longer and longer, and we didn't want them to turn into kind of dev shorts and take over that space. So it was pretty obvious that also the community wanted to share these videos, but nobody's going to see the gameplay if they have to sit through half an hour of us chatting with the gameplay at the end. People will not even be aware there's gameplay at the end. So
Mhm.
splitting those makes sense because then the community can share just that individual episode, and we can go back to more of this talking format where we can have more people on the show, try and
Yeah,
keep it under an hour, preferably round about half an hour unless we have an interview.
yeah,
The gameplay video, which, as you know, is in 4K 60 FPS. We're also going to release that version, like we did this week, in Discord, so that creators don't have to go and kind of download our YouTube in lower quality. You can go straight to our Discord channel, have that really high quality video, and feel free to chop it up, share it, and do whatever you want with it. So you have the content now, and you have it at the highest quality.
yeah, yeah. I completely agree. And also, the essence of Copi Cafe, since the very beginning, the idea was that we communicate to you guys on a regular basis. And it's something that Rob and I had to commit to. We had to ask ourselves, can we commit to once a week of doing this? And how? And so when I'm thinking of how busy I was back then, which has
Mhm.
gone massively busier since then, since we
Yeah.
started Copi Cafe, there's way more to accomplish and deal with on a daily basis. That being said, we kept it. The reason we have the "What are you drinking?" and the reason we called it Copi Cafe is because we want to keep it casual, so that we don't have a ton of pre-production to do every week. Adding that gameplay video add-in it's just it's great. It's a phenomenal leak, and we need to do those. But it
Yeah.
definitely added significant production, additional time, and operational
Hmm.
complexity that made it incredibly challenging. And furthermore, Rob's right. The, splitting that out makes it a lot more shareable. You don't have to share Rob and Josh faces talking to one another. If you're a gamer, you don't care about us or whatever. You care about the game. I want to show you guys this game. It's really cool. So from now on, what we're going to be doing is we'll release Copi Cafe on Friday. Then we'll do the separated gameplay segment typically on Mondays, but I do want to give you guys a heads up here. So this week we're not going to do the gameplay segment. And the reason is our number one priority is to deliver you guys a working game. Right now, the whole team is in grind mode. We're getting this stuff done so that we can launch this game. I don't want to pull, there's 3 to 4 team members that are involved in getting those gameplay videos done. I have to pull and take away from some of their time to make sure we release that. It's just part of our marketing strategy for this racing game to deliver some of these gameplay videos. So I'm not saying that we're going to stop doing it. However, this week we're not going to have one for you. But when we do have those, those will come out on Mondays. And it'll be a great surprise and something that's a lot of fun for everybody. And pretty soon, hopefully, you guys, the community, are making gameplay videos. That's not too far away. So anyway, sorry to disappoint you there, but the main reason for that is that we want to be sure that we can deliver more quickly. That's the number one priority. If we could pull off gameplay videos here and there, we're definitely going to have them. So this week, we're not going to have one. But then again, on Wednesday, we're always going to have the Cornucopias Universe, which is a short segment. Next up, we
Yep.
have the daily corn
Daily
or
corn.
gold grab, the points
The
that you
daily
can
corn
grab
in
within our
Discord. Yep.
Discord. So what we're trying to do right now, up until the launch, is increase the activity. We realize where we're at. We're in the middle of a bear market. Things are a little nutty. Things have gotten quiet for a lot. Many have disappeared. We want to increase the engagement and the activity and do something fun to gamify our Discord. We're an entertainment company all the way around, right? So one thing that we're doing, it's a fun little game. Go into our Discord, hit /daily on the daily gold channel. It's right below the general channel. You can go in
Yep.
there and grab your points on a daily basis. It's pretty fun. I like seeing what I'm going to get, and what those can be used for is possibly to buy a whitelist to a NFT mint in the future, or there's a variety of things that we can do with it. We recently did use those points that you don't have to pay anything for at all. They're free points. You just have to go in there and grab them. But what we did is an NFT giveaway. And so that was, based upon buying raffle tickets and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. And hopefully you guys take part in that.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And when you see me in that channel doing / give me 444 corns and all this / weekly and / monthly, I'm just having a laugh. I'm not really hacking the system. I'm just really having. However, I did give me 444 and I actually got 444. So that was a complete coincidence. That was not. That was not, well, maybe it hacked. I don't know. Maybe I've got hacked into the
I don't
matrix.
think it's listening.
Just a bit of fun.
But yeah, very cool. If you haven't participated, start, because it is going to have some cool uses for you guys, and it'll be fun. On top of that, this is our leak for the week. Very soon, inside our community, in different places, and I'm not certain exactly where or how this is going to happen, but we're going to be doing NFT giveaways of some sort. That could be by just dropping a random seed phrase. It could be first person to respond with the correct answer to this question. It could be random in a YouTube comment. I don't know, and I'm not going to know. Matt is the initiator of the daily corn grab points thing, and he's also going to be minting NFTs to drop those throughout the community. That's also just to reward you guys and do some cool stuff. He's going to be basically taking his photography skills, applying them to the inside of Unreal Engine, and taken some cool photos of Solace at different hours or the racetrack at different hours or whatever. And we're going to be putting those in NFT format, and they're going to have their own kind of rarity. There's not going to be thousands and thousands of them, but we're going to be continually giving away NFTs. Might be several a week. So if you're there to grab one, then happy days for you. I just said happy days. You're rubbing off on me, Rob. That's a UK thing.
Yeah.
Happy days.
And it's Wednesday.
And it's
So you
Wednesday.
have Monday, Tuesday, happy days. Wednesday, Thursday, happy
Oh
days.
boy. You got it all.
Every day is a happy days.
Yeah, so anyway, that's to increase engagement, kind of prepare us for the launch. We want to have as many people they may have heard of Cornucopias, they may not have, whatever. We're trying to get as many people aware of what we're doing as we can without doing paid marketing yet, because we're waiting on paid marketing until we have revenue, and then also until we have a system that a game that's live and you guys are giving us the thumbs up on it. Hey, the sentiment is incredibly positive. We're good to go. A lot of the debugging is out of the way, and then we're going to ramp things up. So exciting stuff ahead there. What's up next? Let's see. I think we've covered just about everything. We need to get Zach and Geoff up here. So let's go ahead and get Zach and Geoff up. All right, Geoff, Zach.
Hey.
Geoff, take it away, man. What do you got for
Hello
us
there.
today?
I'm assuming I'm the leak this week.
You're gonna leak.
Welcome to Copi Cafe, guys. Geoff, a special edition. We have not introduced Geoff, one of the co-founders, and we have not introduced Zach yet on Copi Cafe. So it's good to have you guys on. Thank you for participating, and I'm sure our community would love to hear more about you guys. So here we go. First of all, what are you drinking?
Shocker. Mad.
Mad Tasty.
Geoff is sponsored by Mad Tasty. Okay, Zach, what about you?
I've moved on from the caffeinating portion of the day to the overhydration portion of the day, and so we're
Sounds a lot like my cycle. Good choice. Over caffeinate, dehydrate yourself, then rehydrate. It's great. It's good.
right.
Yep.
Yep.
Cheers.
It's a good strategy.
Build
All right.
up toxins, then flush them out.
Yeah, perfect. Efficient. Geoff,
Yeah, I need some.
thank you for
CBD
joining us.
to
Geoff is a co-founder of Cornucopias. He's also COO, but his role is currently not leading him to do a ton of COO type stuff. But we however, shifting more to that later this year, organizational wise. But that being said, you've been doing a lot. Tell us a little bit about your role with the company right now. What are you working on?
Recently is been pretty much everything web, overseeing the web stuff. So website launch, that launch, and then most recently we developed a player account, which is, which is gonna basically where you log in and create your account for to be used in the game launcher and the game, etc. So we
Yeah,
can get
well-
more into that later, but
You've
So,
done a killer job with all of that. I will say that our UI UX experience is incredibly sound. I also know that you have a incredible attention to detail when it comes to those things, and might have driven the team slightly crazy. But look at the end result.
yeah.
It's
Don't
solid.
Zach, why are you laughing? It's
Charming summary.
No, dude,
charming summary.
that's what it takes, though, man. So okay, cool. Good.
100%.
It's amazing. The player account is solid. You were a heavy part of making sure that came through really, really well. I'm very proud of it. The community is incredibly proud of it, and so great job with that. Tell us, like, what gets you fired up, man? What are you most fired up about with Cornucopias and with your role and what you have to deliver?
Well, Copi is obviously the game, which is, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. It's absolutely incredible. And I don't know. But we talk about this all the time. So it's, but yeah, just like you said, the UI UX stuff is kind of, I just absolutely love that part of it. Having usability, like just being intuitive. People don't have to ask questions. Like eliminating all possible questions from anything interactive. Like it's and it's extremely hard to make something extremely simple. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm at. But
Yeah, you
for this
nailed
stuff.
it with that. There's no doubt.
Director says
Zach,
cut.
tell us a little bit about what your role is and what are you working on at Cornucopias?
So I am the project manager at Cornucopias. For the last 5 months now, I have been implementing agile methodology across all of our development teams. And that's everything from the folks working on the game to working a lot with Geoff on things like the player profile. And so that's been getting sprints set up, getting tasks assigned to the right specialists, and then doing that sort of cross-departmental coordination to ensure that things like the player profile is syncing up with the development of the desktop launcher, and then all of that's going to be tied in to the actual gameplay functionality as we drive this thing towards launch.
Yeah, awesome, man. Are you digging it? You liking the role as?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm super excited about the product itself, and there's just so much here, and the vision is just so cool to dig into to sort of help that become reality has just been a joy.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Well, I've definitely noticed a significant improvement in our processes and everything. It's like now from a management perspective, as CEOs or as co-founders together, we have a much better picture and ability to estimate how long is a project going to take? When are we going to get this done? We can predict our pathway quite a bit better. We're refining and improving that. And we also have the organization with backlogs and things like that now, where if somebody runs out of tasks, they don't really ever run out of tasks because there's a backlog of stuff that they can pick up. So it's really it's been good to get organized and buttoned up in that way. I know Rob's got some questions for you too, though.
Yeah. Apart from touring with Deep Blue something, what's been your biggest challenge in Cornucopias?
Um,
Because that's true.
well, yes, in Dallas with Deep Blue Something, playing for exactly 5 people at the Greenville Arts Festival. So, in terms of Cornucopias, the biggest challenge just has been getting that agile process spun up across multiple teams, and that's especially challenging when you're dealing with things like the art department that we have here. That are those assets can take a long time just to kind of develop one thing. And so in the agile methodology, you're trying to sort of get away from that waterfall dependency. But it's almost like with those art assets, sometimes there can be almost an assembly line feel. So we've had to kind of go outside the agile box a little bit. So just being agile with agile as we spin it up in different ways for different parts of the company has been sort of we just had to kind of improvise there a bit, which has been
That was very
challenging,
meta
but
of you.
also, thank you. No, it's been a challenge, but it's also been really great because I feel like it's just been a process of discovering what works well for us.
Yeah, and I suppose as one of the newer members of the team, although quite old now, 5 months in crypto is about 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years of Copi time.
What do you think of the team? You work with most of them.
Super talented guys. I've worked with some of the engineers on the website before, so to have them come in and drop what's felt like pretty seamlessly into the operation, and then integrate them with everything that's happening on the game side and the desktop launcher side. Especially, I just love working with creatives, and so being able to work with these art guys and seeing the amazing visual stuff that's coming out from David and his folks has just been really cool, and just a highlight of my week every week to see what's coming off the press.
Yeah, those Tuesday meetings are wicked. Was you going to ask something, Josh?
Well, yeah, I thought it was a great question. I wanted to move over to Geoff on that question on what does he think of the team. What's your perception of who all you've been working with?
everyone, everyone is incredible. Like Zach said, I mean, the talent is ridiculous, and just the confidence that you have in the team to carry something out. It's I don't know. It's extremely comforting, refreshing. Um, it's yeah,
Yeah,
it
I it's
takes
great to hear you
stress
guys
levels
both.
lower for sure.
Yeah, that's huge. And you're right. That's a really valid point because a lot of times when you don't trust the team, you're having to focus from a management perspective on oh crap, I'm worried about what's not getting done. How do I solve these problems? But when you do trust your team and you have an incredibly talented, skilled team, there's a lot less worry there. You get to focus on what it is you've got on your plate rather than too much time in support or whatever that may be. I will say this, you guys together, so Geoff with the COO role and Zach with Agile, that's a big organizational element that's covering so much of what doesn't get recognized as often. And that's why we wanted to have you guys up here today, was because yeah, we're releasing all this cool art and these gameplay videos that people just get fired up because they're beautiful. It looks amazing. We're all excited about that. But I don't ever want to discount the infrastructure and the website and the supporting assets that are needed that you guys have been focused on. The website, the player account, the desktop launcher, all of those things are essential to be able to launch this game and manage the data and have valuable interactions between the game and exchange of value eventually with the NFT marketplace and things like that. So much of what you're doing is critical to what we're building, and you guys have knocked it out of the park so far. You got a ways to go.
Yeah,
Thanks. Yeah, it's I like Rob's analogy of the swan that looks beautiful and graceful on the top of the water, but is kicking furiously underneath, and we are definitely a part of that kicking furiously mechanic.
Yeah, that's almost like me and Jeff when we're dancing. He's the top bit. He's the one that's looking quite nice, and the silly one underneath.
Rob's struggling. Not really.
Almost made the fluids
Rob's
go into
singing and
my
dancing.
nose on that one. No, seriously, that karaoke thing, that was a ton of fun. But every
Yeah,
time I think of it, I just remember stepping on the carpet and feeling my
Oh yeah,
shoes peeling off the floor because this karaoke venue, it's like they've
yeah,
never washed the carpet and tons of soda and alcoholic beverages and sugar had been spilled all over the floor. It was
yeah. And
weird,
we need to
but it
get
was
together
great. It was a great
more,
venue.
don't we?
Huh?
We need to
Do
get
what?
together. We haven't been together yet. We're in June now, and we
I
haven't met
know
this year.
it's a year of a grind. We'll all be together for CNFT Con for sure, but we definitely have a bit of a grind until then, and we
and
might
that
see each other. We'll see each other possibly at Rare Evo, um, potentially before that. But
yeah, and that's also a huge struggle. Is like no, I mean, besides a few people living near each other, it's like nobody lives in the same place, same city,
Yep.
same country, same continents. Like it's that is a huge struggle too. So
yeah,
trying to get and the time zones and we get a certain amount of hours overlap for the most part. People like Michael or Rob that don't sleep. I mean that's different, but
yeah, it's true. There's a lot of challenges there, but what we did do with with our people strategy really is it enabled us to have a very accelerated pace, but it requires a lot more trust in anyone you bring on because if they're in an isolated, we're not all getting together in the same office, which has its benefits and its drawbacks. There's no doubt about that. But it enabled us to assemble a highly talented, skilled team really quickly. You can imagine if we had to do this all in Austin, it takes a lot longer to put together that highly talented team because you might be having to find some people that come in are willing to move and be remote or all of that stuff. So it definitely enabled us to get things assembled more quickly, but it has its challenges operationally. And you're definitely you've got some challenges ahead with the organization of all of that, Geoff, as a CEO, and prepping us to go to scale and bring on another 50 people when the time is right and all of those things. So Yeah, you guys have done a great job. Rob, did you have more questions or anything else?
Um, maybe one last one for Geoff. What's your highlight been so far, apart from karaoke?
What, like somewhat socially, or I
Just anything, anything.
I mean,
Like for me, my highlight so far since because we all started this way 2 years ago now, didn't we? For me was probably CNFT Con. You know, when we
No,
all
that's
got
my
together.
answer.
Oh, you
Yeah.
can have the same answer.
yeah, I mean that was epic, obviously. But I don't know. I think what's about to come is going to be everyone's highlight, hands down, which
Yeah,
is release, which is
when we go
we
racing.
still have a lot to do. Um, but I don't know. Yeah, that was pretty epic seeing FTCon, but I don't know. I just can't stop thinking about what's this release and what that's going to be. It's going to be a different type of feeling altogether. I don't know.
Preach.
No doubt about that. I have a ton of excitement
Cool.
and a ton of
Nervous.
anxiety, and
Yeah.
yeah, sleepless nights in this final phase of getting us towards launch. There's no doubt that my mind is it's a lot. It's a lot.
But ask me that in a couple months, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
It's freaking amazing what we're building. It's so
It's,
cool. All right, you
it's
guys are
happening
killing it. Thank
so
you.
fast.
You
So
you really are, Zach. We've thrown a lot of projects your way to get organized. There's a lot, and there's more we're going to throw your way, and you're handling it.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's keep it up.
mhm.
And we got a long way to go. It's a big vision. You guys are on the founding element here. So and Geoff, obviously, you know, as a co-founder, you helped kick this off the ground. You had our original website, then you led our website redesign with the real functionality and all the new content. So a lot of really great stuff that we've all been doing. Thank you guys for your effort. Thanks for being on Copi Cafe. Any final words? It looks like Geoff has to say something else.
Yeah,
You
final
want to
word.
talk
So
about the 76 you shot in golf? Is that the deal? What?
I'm happy to, but that's not. Thank you for mentioning it. Thank you for knowing that. No, I was gonna say like the player count. You know, this is the first iteration, I guess. So we did get a lot of feedback from the community OGs and then the rest of the community, and actually made plenty of changes based on the feedback. So, sorry. Thank you guys for that. And yeah, there's gonna be so many more features and stuff adding. It's just it takes time, is all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's just the beginning of the vision. Good stuff,
yep.
guys.
so
All right.
Yep. It is just so cool taking the vision and turning it into a functional reality, like that release of the player profile, and the first steps of getting folks in and actually having them use the things we built. Yeah, it's just tremendously exciting.
and no major bugs or not even really minor bugs. I mean, just been
Knock on
little
wood.
things like it's no crap.
And we still have some major stuff underneath that hasn't really been announced much. Well, the Cornucopias Academy, that's been mentioned, and that's made significant progress. We sidelined it for a temporary period of time so we could focus on these deliverables, but a lot of stuff to come, folks. Anyway,
Indeed.
thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for being on Copi Cafe. Have a good rest of your day. See you soon.
All right.
Maybe.
Well, it was good to have Zach and Geoff on the show.
Yep.
Neither of them have been on before, and both very integral parts of the team. Zach with so much of the planning that we're doing and implementing Agile, and then Geoff, obviously a co-founder, COO, but wearing many hats because we are still a startup. So there's a lot that each of those guys are doing for us. So definitely good to have them on the show. And the final element here is the questions. So you got some questions for me, or you want me to ask you? What do we want to do?
Yeah, I can ask you some questions.
Sure.
Question 1 from DB Cooper from the Knights. Okay. Will there be a sky plot grab for the custom domes similar to the land plot grabs?
It's a good question. And by the nature of the way this land is, no, there won't be a skyplot grab. The reason is each of the custom domes is its own entity. There's nothing to go locate and grab. It's its own space in the world. So you will literally fly to it at some point. If you're going to go to Bob's custom dome, you're going to have to fly to that. It's not a small piece in a larger world that you have to find. So I hope that makes sense. With the theme zone lands, there's going to be plots within one entire dome. And so that means there will be a land grab to find your plot and find the area of solace that you want to put your land down, or find the area of Esperanza that you want to put your land on. So that's going to be the land grab with the theme zones, and then custom domes is it's its own piece, way smaller, all by itself. So hopefully that answers the question.
Finding them is going to be the same, but they do have rarity though, and rarity does play a part actually in the advertising side of it. So you would have seen a lot of advertising spaces appear in Kalido Valley. So some of those spaces will be up for grabs by custom dome owners.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot that can
We've
be
got to
done
work out those
advertising
details,
wise in the future, and different partnerships that we can do with B2B entities to add more value overall. And we're definitely not going to over clutter the game with ads. It's going to make sense where we put them, that keeps the game experience phenomenal. And we're not going to do anything that's interruptive to your gaming experience ever. So, okay, next question.
Yep. Question 2 from Genius Knight.
Genius
They
Knight,
have a
all
new
right.
question. Yeah, genius question this. Every country has a few data points where they can see how the economics works, the GDP, gross domestic product. Will this be implemented in zones or in sectors? And can we connect the actual trade division data into a system for the guilds? That was a question to read out.
It's a great question. Okay, so GDP, gross domestic product, that is the total number of goods and services sold within a particular country. I believe that's the definition. I'm not certain of that. I'll need to double check it, but correct me if I'm wrong. It's the total number of goods and services sold within a country in a given year. I believe that's kind of how it goes, or and that's monthly. You can track it, etc. Within Cornucopias, we probably will have something to that regard. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. What we are going to have is a lot of raw materials, and there are going to be goods that you can buy, and products that you can buy, and services that you can buy, without a doubt, within the game. The way all of that will work together is a lot of energy and work. We've had a in-game tokenomics paper drafted. We've gone back and forth on it. We've done a lot of planning on it. We're bringing on, we already have a partnership with a company called Machinations, or Machinations. I'm not sure exactly how you spell it, but what they do is Monte Carlo modeling. So when the time is right, we're going to plug that in and start working with them to financially model. It might just be 5 different variables of raw materials at that point. It might be wood, rock, corn, wheat, whatever. And we'll model out what's going to happen based upon all the different variables, and they'll do the Monte Carlo simulations, and we'll get a better idea of exactly what are the starting points and how we're going to sell the goods and services inside the game, and what that's going to mean for those that have in-game currencies or developing points over time and things of that nature. So it's a really big question you asked, but a very important one. And so we'll definitely, there's a lot of work still there that needs to be done. The most important priority is make the game incredibly fun, and start simply with something that's incredibly complicated, and iterate with it and test it and see how it goes and do the modeling and research. And so that's the approach we're taking. We do ask you guys to be patient with us, because I know a lot of you are very interested in how this in-game economy could work. And the reality is it's going to be a simple iteration. We have to do a lot of research and gradually unfold it over time. So just be patient, because we're not going to just flippantly throw out a model here. We're going to start small and then gradually increase how that works with testing and feedback from the users. Any thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, the in-game economics is really, really complicated. We are going to simplify it as best we can, yet still keep the complexity under the hood. It has taken time, and it will take time to reveal. So yeah, like you say, just stay tuned. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
just be
It's coming on.
patient. When we launch the game, that's when it's going to be relevant anyway. But yeah, we realize we want the answers now too. The point is that we can't get there until we're to enough of a place where we can actually give machinations the exact. This is our starting point. So let's model out according to our starting point. When we can do that, we can start modeling with machinations.
Yeah,
And we're
and I
getting there.
think I suppose just like we haven't landed on a number of land plots that we will have in a sector yet, it's because we have to push it through all these tests, and it'll be the same with the in-game economics. We can't reveal and push that out if we haven't tested it and we're not 100% certain we can deliver it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's depends upon how performant the game is with all the plots. We're trying to get as many plots as we can into Solace 1 so we don't have to build Solace all the way up to Solace 24 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But like we have to build up as performant as possible. When you get a lot of land plots in, that's a lot of persistence that needs to exist, meaning somebody moved this piece of XYZ, this wood in this property, that needs to replicate. And so you get performance challenges the more plots that there are. I don't know if that makes sense, but what we're trying to do is optimize everything we build so that it is performance as possible so we can get as many people as possible in there and as many plots as possible in each of the Solace. So what Rob's saying is very important because that is actually part of the bottleneck for really defining out many of the elements of the economy. So that's a really valid point. It's one of the most foundational ones that we got to get to that before we take those next steps with machinations. Long answer, but a great question. What's up next?
Yep. Final one from Icarus. For those with their own transportation, what will flying and parking look like?
Oh, what a great question as well. Okay, so to me, this is incredibly fun, and it makes our game very unique because coupled with the domes and the theme zone lands and eventually the city and all of these different curated bubbles that we might have, for example, Colito Valley, the curated racing bubble, all of these different lands, you're going to have to get there somehow. If it's not public transportation, you can utilize one of your NFTs that is for flying around. And the cool thing is you get to then fly through the transportation system, the highways in the sky, and choose your location. And there'll be cloud gates where you can speed that up and choose, okay, I'm going over to Colito Valley. Well, and then it ramps you up over to Colito Valley, and there's going to be an entrance process like you've seen ships going into the Death Star in Star Wars or whatever. There's going to be an entrance process for going into the parking area of a dome, and then there's going to be a lobby area that you walk out into that introduces you to whatever that dome is. And we might have leaked some images of that before from Solace potentially.
Really early from Solace, yeah.
A very
underneath.
early leak of that. That's still a work in progress. But there, so you'll then get out of your vehicle, park it, and walk into the dome and do whatever it is you're there to do. But then you can decide to leave. You can leave that dome and fly to another one. And you might have, at some point, I mentioned Bob's custom dome or his bubble, whatever. He's got a PvP game that you want to go play at 3 o'clock. Well, then you need to leave and fly over to Bob's dome, and that might mean flying to the cloud gates and selecting his dome from an in-game menu and then getting there. But that's kind of how that process works. It's going to be fun. I mean, you're flying through space. Like, this is space travel. You're, I forget how many miles above Earth you are, but this is flying around in the clouds above Earth and going from dome to dome. So a lot of cool stuff there. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think it'll be great, especially when you if you don't have your own NFT, you'll be able to go on public transport and then you'll just sit. Well, actually, that'll be a good experience as well because you'll be with other people in one of these these big flying vehicles, and you'll be entertained but you'll be entertained. But also, if you have your own vehicle, like you say, you'll go through the landing pad, you'll get out of your vehicle, the vehicle will then do something magical, and you'll be like in kind of like an airport. So you'll travel that long distance to almost like the shopping centre where you'll be able to go in, and it'll be in the spirit of like you've seen with Toledo Valley Resort, where you'll have different shops, duty free, all that kind of stuff, and then you'll go up the lifts or the escalators, and then whoosh, you'll be in Solace. I think it's going to be exciting whichever way you take, whether it's public or your own transport.
Yes, I completely agree. I'm pumped up about it. So, and that'll be, your player account being the fundamental aspect of recognizing that you hold this bubble jet that you'll be using to fly around. So your player account syncs up with the game, and it says, yes, this person has a bubble jet. The game says, okay, let's let them fly this bubble jet, and then there you go. And then guess what? If you're done with the bubble jet and you want to move on, you want to upgrade to another vehicle or buy another vehicle, whatever that is, you can sell it. One of the beauties of Web3 is that we're making these assets liquid, so you can go sell your bubble jet and pick something else and fly that around. A lot of fun. Very exciting.
Go to the different showrooms, check out the new model, trade your old one in.
Yeah.
In the future, we'll show you the Jester. That'll be fun.
Yeah. The Jester is ridiculous.
It's
and
no
sick.
joke.
No, it's no joke at all.
It's
Oh my
no joke.
gosh. I really wish we could leak an image of that right now.
Yep.
But we can't.
Nope.
But we will at some point. All right. Folks, that is it for episode 54. And once again, please remember to check back with us on Monday for a gameplay release. So we'll release another one of those videos on Monday. But until then, have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for watching Copi Cafe episode 54. We'll see you soon.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.